Good afternoon, everyone. With talk of famine across the planet, thought I would jump in. Cattle feed lot capacity red line this year down. Natural food sources, feral swine. Squeal on the pigs. You're not allowed to hunt them. Milk supplier shuts factory. Also in Australia, business decision or purposeful shutdown. And a retraining, just like you're supposed to stay home, a retraining. Eat blemished vegetables. Wow, the entire society is being retrained right now, isn't it? With everyone working from home, even the DHS is recommending IT staffers use a VPN. You can head over to virtualshield.com, and in the download tab, I'm going to choose Firefox. And click Install Now to add the Virtual Shield add-on. It's just that easy. And get started with your free 30-day trial. Install it, click Connect. You'll see the shield turn from red to green, and you'll see how from my initial service provider I was able to even change my IP. Virtual Shield Network protected. And during the month of April, Virtual Shield is offering 50% on all VPN plans and premium add-ons. The link's in the description box below. And you've seen the headlines for the last couple of months. Giant locust armies, mass starvation. And you notice this is a theme. Famine, starvation, food insecurity, and many other tags that they want to use. Now, how food insecure are we going to get? In the U.S., they're talking about closing all of these meat packing plants. Hormel, Smithfield, Tyson. So looking at the numbers here off the USDA for the last week of April, the number of cattle on 1,000 head plus feedlots down. But that's a significant drop, much steeper than in prior years. So what's going on there? Drop from 12 million to approximately 11 million. We're taking a look at all cattle and calves inventory U.S. This is from January 1st. Showing about 94 million, and I like how this chart goes all the way back to 1867, where we still had about 30 million head across the U.S. So keep that as a benchmark. It really can't go much lower than that, clear back into the 1800s. And with the amount of open range lands that we have now, if you were to tear down the fences, they could go and we'd probably still stay in the 60 million range or so, if there was enough food, just off grass. As it was before, they didn't have giant feedlots back in the mid-1800s. Beef cow industry, as well, back to 1920 on this chart, far left. You can see the peak around, 1980 at 45 million, and we're still around 30 at the present time. So just say each of these dropped in half. What would that do for the meat production? And would we go into total famine like Africa? So a lot of people during this time, because of all the food insecurity and these headlines blaring about, hey, food up, food more expensive, food not available, are thinking about hunting. A lot of people do like to hunt as a pastime. But Montana, feral swine, squeal on pigs campaign. You call the number if you see a feral pig. You, though, as the individual, are not allowed to shoot it. And then they also say, nowhere on earth has hunting ever successfully controlled the wild pig population. So they're insinuating that it can only be another thing, just like CO2 is the only cause for any type of change on this planet. So only the other methods will work. Although I know firsthand by these wild boars here, these are very destructive animals in the agricultural zones. I mean, this is one pig foraging in the evening. Imagine what it can do if it's let go for several nights, and then if it had its whole family, that whole field would be gone. And as we start to see here, you got to wonder, how many feral hogs was this to take down this much corn? That's just probably one evening of 3 of them. So imagine 100 unchecked, and it's more like tens of thousands, actually, because you look top left, in Canada, 1990 to the year 2000, how many feral pigs were there? There's a couple dots of red. You can barely even notice that. And then 2001 to 10, you can see discernible uptick. And then 2011 to 17, there's that cluster that is now pushing down into the U.S. But in the U.S., feral pigs are always in the southeast U.S., southern part Texas. It's a normal part of the ecosystem. But now it seems that the North is pushing down to meet the South. Pretty interesting how they got that foothold up there in Canada, of all places. And like I said, you're not allowed to shoot these things. Senate Bill 100 set a minimum fine of $2,000 for hunting these. So let's say you're out in this field and you're the farmer and you shoot it, and it's not a life-threatening immediate harm situation, you will get that fine for $2,000, even though they're destroying your crops. And a lot of farmers like to trap these at night. You're not allowed to do that either. So how are farmers supposed to protect their own fields if this ridiculous law has been passed where you can't protect anything from this pest that you know is already there? Or else you wouldn't be passing the law. Montana, Senate. And these animals grow really large. They can get up to about 300 pounds, and with the tusks, they are a formidable force. But living out in Hawaii for a few years, the guys out there hunt the wild boar. It's a delicacy. Over in Asia, it's a delicacy. So when I see this article here, and I've lived in 2 locations that actually eat this animal, and I see this here, they're trying to scare you now. Can't hunt it. We're going to give you a fine. Well, you wouldn't want to eat it anyway because it's such a dangerous animal. 89 bacterial parasites, diseases transferred to either livestock, wildlife, or you, the human. Now, see, they didn't break it down. There might be one transferred to human, but they'd have lumped everything together. Again, it's a scare tactic. Don't eat the boar. So what are they saving all these boar for? I know they're difficult to hunt. They're very good evaders, some of the best in nature. Difficult to hunt at best. I wonder what the whole thing is, why you can't hunt these or get them off your land. So that's a retraining exercise. Don't eat the natural wildlife. All these stories coming out about don't eat the rabbits. They have some sort of weird contagion in them as well. And now the whole retraining with the stay-in-home order and don't get close to anybody. Oh, wait, now shoppers are urged to eat blemished fruit and vegetables. See, this all has to do with the Grand Solar Minimum. Absolutely. We knew there was going to be less food, and that would be a very good part of this, actually returning back a little closer to nature where it doesn't have to look perfect. You could use fresh farm produce that's not perfect in a more local and regional setting. Queensland Agriculture Minister, encouraging, even if it's out of shape, has cosmetic blemishes, or it's smaller than usual, to still eat it. Because these specifications here, remember, big ag and big grocery have controlled delivery of fruit and vegetable for decades now. They're losing control because we just can't grow as much. Grand Solar Minimum is wiping out crop yields around the planet, but the supermarkets still want to stay in the game. So now what are they doing? Kohl's, magically, a special initiative because they love the people so much. No, it's they were going to lose market share if they didn't sell this type of fruit and allow this type of fruit. So who lobbied who? To change the law. Big grocery can never be out of the chain of milking your money. And then they have the audacity to say the worst thing for us would be if shoppers turn up their nose to misshapen or slightly misshaped capsicum. What? Are you kidding me? These type of large supermarkets put local farmers out of business because they wouldn't buy their slightly blemished produce, which was grown with love, and everything had to be exactly the same size. So then a Kohl's to come back and go, oh, it's a travesty. Yeah, right on. And this corporation didn't want to lose the money. So look across the planet and see how many companies are doing the exact same thing. It's another level of control because they didn't want to miss out on the spending of your money. In case in point, Queensland Milk supplier shuts factory weeks after it won a government contract. Now remember, this is the first week of February. Lactalis took over this milk factory that was functioning. Now it wasn't fully functioning to the point where it was full throughput. So they still had to rely on transporting milk from other states to fill the factory so it could continue to run at some capacity. Lactalis jumped in, took it over, and made the decision purely on money only. State government in cahoots with Lactalis, underhand deal here because it wasn't supposed to be like this, against the government's own buy local initiatives, yet because it was the cheapest, the contract was awarded to Big Milk. Then the bottom paragraph really does sum it up. In this case, the tender process appears to have been solely focused on the ability to deliver the cheapest milk regardless of the consequences for the local employees or the industry collapse. That kind of sums up the corporate world for you. As long as you can get it cheap, you don't matter. Lactalis, yay, they're moving to Victoria and Tasmania, which would reduce transportation requirements of the milk between states. Yogurt, cut it out of Queensland. No, we just want the cheapest milk we can possibly get, and the underhanded contract. Oh, and also the sun on its 400-year cycle of low solar activity, which will reduce our crop yields so we can only feed about 5 billion people on the planet. So how would you react if you were a government? Thanks for watching. Hope you got something out of the video. And during these times of uncertainty, my Patriot Supply and Adapt 2030, long-term food storage, 2-week grab-and-go food crate, or the 4-week food supply, you can use this as you transition to a self-sufficient lifestyle. That's the only way we can possibly move forward, is growing our own food. So I encourage you to start today. Tomorrow's a sunny, beautiful day. Even if it's raining, learn something about planting food, and I'll see you next time.